G'day everyone and welcome along to VH Online's live and exclusive broadcast of round 6 of the Grand Ams from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in California. I'm your host Matthew Hill, and joining me in the combox is John Emerson. G'day John.
Yeah, g'day Hilly. How you going, mate? I'm pretty excited to be here tonight. It's looking forward to be a pretty good race, actually. There's some big names here tonight. I've seen that George Sandman has signed up, Bernhard Berger has signed up. I'm actually really excited about this race. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, well, we've seen some great battles in the last few rounds, but Sandman and two heavyweights going toe-to-toe today. It should be really good to watch in the DPs.
Yeah, that's right. Chris Osborne. I was just watching him in the qualifying session just before. He actually hasn't done a time before then. And he's not actually looking that fast. I didn't see his final time, but he had a 16.7 up there before, and that's going to put him back in the pack a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see once we get in to see exactly where he's going to be starting from.
Yeah, well, he is actually one of our championship contenders in the DP, and with a not-so-flash qualifying time and two heavyweights in here, the points are going to be on the table for collection tonight.
No, you're exactly right, Hilly. You're right on the money there, mate. The other interesting thing is Dylan Sharman. Now, he is obviously just a master in the McLaren at the moment. Will anyone be able to take the challenge to him tonight to beat him?
Oh, mate, that guy is an absolute machine and in a class of his own. I very much doubt that anyone will be able to keep with him for the full race length tonight, the 45 minutes. Now, up on the screen, we've got the championship standings. We've got Steve Anos leading the charge in the DPs with 598 points. Anthony Kernich nipping his heels at 561. Alex Lamb in 556. In fourth place, we've got Christopher Osborne, who needs to put in a really good showing today, sitting behind them on 516. Christopher Green on 512. Matty Barron, he's been in and out of the series pretty much all season so far. So he's sitting there at 462. Michael Shaw in 7th. Jason Brimcombe in 8th. And Martin Carroll in 9th. And Steve Hunter running it at 10 for the championship in their DPs.
Yeah, nice work. Nice work. I don't actually have the tables up for the McLarens. Do you have them there, Hill?
Yeah, mate, I've got them up here. We'll run through them. We've got Blake Coppo leading the charge at the moment. 785 with quite a commanding lead over David Hingston on 655. I'll get that right the second time round. Andrew Lee from ANZ in third place. Dylan Sharman in 630. That guy has missed a few of the starting rounds and expect him to go rocketing up the field. He's currently in fourth place. David Arnold in fifth. Jonathan Solani in 6th, Andrew Rand in 7th, Warwick Spack in 8th, Wayne Berg, who is an absolute media hog at the moment, broadcasting himself in every V8 Online broadcast during the week in 9th place, and Lucas, I'm going to murder this last name, Lucas Storio in 10th place.
I'm just in the server now. I'm just having a look at the qualifying positions at the moment. It seems that we've been split into the old Aussie split on our own. All the Euro guys have been put into their own server. It's quite a disappointment. It was going to be quite an interesting race to see if Osborne could tackle it with the big names of Sandman and Bernhard Berger, but yeah, unfortunately. So if we just go to the grid now for the DPs, Chris Osborne ended up pulling out a 1:16.469. Great time, actually. That would have put him probably second or third on the grid with everybody in, but puts him on pole for this race. Steve Vanos in second. Anthony Kernich, again, a regular contributor to the old Grand Am. You often see him in odd times racing, but he's in third. Michael Schreier in fourth. Wayne Anderson in fifth. Christopher Green and Pat O'Hara in 6th and 7th. Both haven't actually put in qualifying time, so you could say they're going in dry, Hilly. This is going to be an interesting race for them.
This is going to be a very, very interesting battle, and I'm quite disappointed that we won't get to see the two heavyweights of this sport going toe-to-toe. Moving on now to the McLarens, we've got Dylan Sharman with if you can believe this, he's got nearly 0.8 of a second over Blake Coppo in second. Tony Autridge in third place, Andrew Wren in fourth, David Arnold, Wayne Seaburke, the regular contender, Paul Rogers, Bruce Joy, Craig Spark, and rounding out your field is Dylan Carroll. And interesting to note, Dylan Carroll didn't actually post a time. So it'll be very interesting to see how he finishes up tonight.
Now, I've been talking to Dylan about this. He was saying that he's doing a bit of an invention test tonight. He's just going to go in and he's just going to throw all sorts of stuff at the setup and just see what happens. It's going to be fantastic racing. I cannot wait to see what happens here.
Yeah, you could say the pressure will be put on him something fierce. This will be a real test.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be amazing. I can tell you now, too, Dylan Sharman's my teammate. He will not be happy that somebody is within, like, inside the second mark for his time. He was gunning for a second over the rest of the field. He's going to be really disappointed that Blake Coppo was actually that close, which in all honesty isn't that close. But, you know, it's going to make for interesting racing. It'll be very interesting to see how far away Sharman can pull. I've got my money on Sharman for the McLarens. I think he'll smash it, but I really hope that Blake Coppo pushes it to it.
Yeah, that's right. He will be very likely winner tonight, but Blake Coppo will push extremely hard, and we know that he can match Dylan for pace when he needs to. So that will be very interesting to see. Who's your money on for the DPs?
Well, it's hard to look past Chris Osborne. I mean, he's the form player. He had a pretty easy win last week at Mosport. Dave Vanos, unfortunately, him and I actually got in a tangle last week at Mosport. It was neither of our fault. It was just one of those racing incidences. I think he just got caught out by a McLaren and both of us had nowhere to go. But I find it hard to think that Steve can keep up with Chris. He's on the money. He wants a championship. He's tried, I think, it's his third season in a row to get the championship and he hasn't got it. Or fourth, actually, sorry. I reckon he's going to be hard to beat.
Well, the car's leaving the grid now on their pace lap. You'll notice that the McLarens will hang back from the DPs, give themselves a bit of a break just in case there's any carnage there from the DPs in turn one, give the McLarens a bit of time, and the leaders can then move on with their race.
Yeah, Sharman's already started the gap back to behind the Rileys there. Nice little move to do, just in case the Rileys get caught up with each other. You know, just keep the McLarens back there, just so they don't get tangled up in the mess that the Rileys can cause. Although that didn't work for him so much at Watkins Glen first round this season. Steve Vanos got loose in the S's, and Sharman came up and had nowhere to go, and bang, race over. So it's meant to work, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. And what's your opinions on this track, John?
This track is tough. I was actually having a drive at lunchtime today, just to see where I would have sat in qualifying, and I'm nowhere near the pace of any of the DPs, so I'm pretty glad I'm not racing. But yeah, this track is slippery. It's really slippery. The new surfacing, I guess you could say, that iRacing has done on it makes it really intense. And the track, like that turn, that left-hand turn heading up the hill towards the corkscrew, it's a tricky one. I reckon we'll see a few guys go off there tonight.
That's right. This is an extremely tough track to keep your concentration on for the full 45 minutes. It's surrounded by sand. If you get one wheel off, you're pretty much headed for the barrier. So you really got to keep your nose clean, keep out of trouble, and keep off that sand. It's very, very important.
That is so true, Hilly. So true. Be interesting to see how Sharman goes tonight. Richard Hampstead is spotting for him tonight. He's going to be playing piano chords for things that are happening during the race. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah,
that's right. We were actually in his team as we just about to head. Green. Green flag drops. Now we've got Christopher Osborne.
Oh, he's schooled the field. Look at that. What a gap. He's going to have a second gap over the first corner. That's typical Chris. Just great driving.
Yeah, he's got that Mitch Racing DP hooked up right from the start. As McLaren's come down to turn one, it's looked like Dylan Sharman has got the jump on Blake Coppo. Dylan will want to shake Blake as quick as possible.
Oh, back in the pack, David Arnold and Bruce Joy getting a bit close there in the first turn. He's lucky to get away with it there. They're side by side into turn two. Oh, Bruce on the wide. Oh, yeah, nice move up the inside from David Arnold there. He's going to hold that position through the next turn.
Craig's flying in.
Oh, he held it. Dylan Carroll, how did he do that?
Well, that was incredible piece of driving. I'll tell you what, the two cars side by side and the two cars behind them side by side as well. It was like animals onto the ark. Those two, it was bound to happen that they were going to stuff up.
Yeah. Looks like all the DPs have got through the first lap fairly cleanly here. Chris has already pulled out to a nice lead. Steve Vanos in second, Anthony Kernich in third. You can't miss that car. It is bright green. My goodness. That car is super green.
That's right. He does like to stand out. Anthony Kernich, he loves the bright green. And why wouldn't you? He's been putting in some really good solid results.
Yeah, that's true. It's been pretty surprising. He's normally an oval driver. He's actually putting in a pretty good effort in this car, I must say. Oh, got a Craig Spark up the inside of Bruce Joy. Gets the move done. Last corner. Nice move.
Yeah, the victim of turn 11 there. There's a lot of moves being made at that turn. It's very much a favourite for the drivers to stick the nose up and try to get the move made.
Definitely not over yet, though. Bruce is looking menacing behind him. Oh, Carroll late on the brakes, around the outside.
Oh, very committed on the brakes there from Dylan, and did well to pull up and still be on the tail of Bruce Joy.
Oh, he's hungry. Carroll is really hungry. He wants that position.
Yeah, he's really making a menace of himself in the mirrors there, Bruce Joy.
It's lap 2, Dylan. Calm down, mate. Calm down. Jeez. And Sharman, look at him. Like a robot. Methodical. Out the front. Doesn't want to foot wrong. Just unchallenged.
Very, very clinical driver, Dylan. He's, well, I suppose we've all learned from Dylan. He's a very clean, very fast driver.
I can tell you now, though, I've driven a couple of races with Dylan. In that helmet, man, he talks to himself a lot. He pushes himself the whole time that he's in that car. Come on, Dylan. Nah, brake later, Dylan. Come on, get into it. Like, that's just Dylan Sharman for you. Like, he just pushes himself 110% all the time. But you know, what's interesting, Blake Coppo is actually staying right with him here. He's not too far behind, and that's good for Dylan. He'll need that. He's only got a second gap over him at the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And last time round, he was only about a tenth and a half behind, so and out of the toe now as well. So Blake's doing that for outright pace.
Nah, it's a good drive from Blake. It's fantastic.
Very, very early days, though. We'll see how he manages to keep up with him. Now we head forward to the leader of the race, Christopher Osborne, leading the charge, getting that Bits Racing DP prototype out to quite a little commanding lead at the moment. 2 seconds over Vaner's last time by.
Yeah, that's the class of Chris Osborne. He was saying earlier this week that he was struggling for grip, and he thought that this season compared to last season there was a lot less grip than what was normally there. But I mean, it's definitely not showing at the moment. Steve and the rest of the field are having a lot of trouble keeping up with him as we go on board with Osborne and see how it's done.
There we go, that's a lap of Laguna Seca on board Chris Osborne in that Bits Racing Daytona prototype. I tell you what, that guy is ultra committed, and we saw the commitment, especially going through the corkscrew turns. Head back down through the field now. We've got Andrew Wren and Wayne Seaberg in another classic battle. We see these guys battling week in, week out.
Andrew Wren's one of the comedians of the field. He always, before every race, he's always, yeah, I'm coming to get you, I'm coming to get you. He's always either trying to get Sharman or he's trying to get me. So I guess that I'm not there, he's trying to get Sharman tonight. Looks like he's going to have to deal with Wayne Seaberg first, though. Nice move up the inside.
Yeah, solid move in the turn one. It's a classic Laguna Seca move. That one double Apex's first turn, so well done for Wayne Seaberg, really gets the move done.
Now he's a surprising talent that's sort of come out of nowhere. Like, he was around last season, mostly seen him in the V8s, but it looks like he's turned his hand to the Grand Am as well. But him and his teammate Dean O'Brien, they are really pushing it in the V8 at the moment. So it's not surprising to see him pushing through the field in this McLaren field at the moment.
That's right, he'll have his eyes set well and firmly on Tony Aldrich. Be interested to see now how Wayne Seaberg goes for pace. Let's see if he can make a dent in that gap. I think the gap now to about 2 seconds. Is that right? 3.3. There we go.
3.3. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how he goes. I wouldn't write him off just yet at all. Actually, I think Wayne's a bit of a talent. He's going to go really well here.
Yeah, we have seen him run this McLaren. He does know the car backwards and forwards, and it does love a good battle. So it'll be good to see Wayne catch up to Tony. Head back through into the DPs now. We're head on board with Anthony Kernich. Oh, ultra committed through that fast left-hander. Back up the hill now. This is the corkscrew turns. It's probably one of the most iconic turns in motorsport in channel, I'd say. It's a very, very fun, very tight, very demanding, with exceptionally high G-forces.
That's true. That corkscrew, it is a really challenging complex at corners. Fantastic that we have it here in iRacing though. It's great.
Tell you what, Anthony Kernich is not letting Steve Vainus go.
No, the Green Machine is well and truly under full throttle. I actually just got a message from a TTL spy guy, who I have a sneaking suspicion is actually Richard Hampstead. Now, Richard Hampstead has said that the reason why Blake Coppo is actually staying with Dylan Sharman is that Sharman has said that he stuffed up the start. Now, I don't recall him doing anything wrong at the start at all, so as TTL Spy Guy put it, Sharman's already making excuses already for his lack of pace, but I think it's just Coppo is just actually driving really well and just staying with him.
Yeah, that's a good point you raised there, and the TTL Spy Guy must know his stuff there. In tight there with Dylan Sharman.
He's playing those piano chords, I tell you.
Blake is really pushing the envelope. He is pushing very hard to try and keep on that rear bumper bar of Dylan Sharman. Whoa, puts a wheel on the dirt. Crazy move. Oh, very well held there by Blake. Still doesn't stop him from putting it all on the ripple stripples again.
That'll cost him a little bit of time, but it'll be interesting to see just how much that hurt.
So I can't get over how committed they are through that fast left-hander.
We go have a look at Christopher Green. Now he's Steve Vanos' teammate in FPR Racing, or FP Racing actually, as they're called, Four Pillar Racing. Looks like he's actually catching up to Michael Schreier a bit. This could actually turn into a bit of a decent battle once we catch up to the McLarens.
Yeah, that's right. Well, as you probably know yourself there, John, being a avid DP racer, once you come across those McLarens, I mean, anything can happen, as we saw last week with yourself involved.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. It was just a bit of indecision from three different parties, myself, Bruce Joy, and Steve Vanos, and yeah, it didn't end happily for any of us. So just have a look at Osborne now. He's actually not too far from Dylan Carroll, so he'll probably catch up to Carroll probably the next lap, I would say. Maybe one or two. Oh, no, definitely the next lap. He will catch him for sure. He's sliding that car around too, Chris Osborne.
He definitely loves the tail hanging out on these DPs. The average probably lap time difference between the two different classes is about 4 seconds, so he will definitely get this move done next lap.
I wonder if I actually have a sneaking suspicion that Chris Osborne is running 8 wing for this race. Now normally I'd run 10. I remember last season I had a great battle with George Sandman, and I had to speak to him after the race, and he was running 8 wing because this track, he's just getting past Dylan Carroll now. This track is notorious for understeer once you get deep into the race. Just as the fuel comes off, the front of the car tends to, the ride height actually lifts off the ground, and you start generating massive understeer. So George was actually saying he was running 8 wing to compensate for that understeer in the late race, which meant that his early pace was hurt because he was sliding the car around everywhere. I just wonder if Chris Osborne's doing the same thing here. It's quite a good tactic. I mean, I couldn't beat George last season with 10 wing, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chris is running 8, and that's just why he's dominating as he clearly is.
There's a lot to think about when you're racing these cars. I mean, the setup is quite crucial. These are very, very aero-sensitive and very highly sprung. So I see a car actually duck up into the pits there. Paul Rogers heading into the pits for some reason. Wow. 45-minute race. I mean, these guys will not have to pit for fuel or tyres. So be interested to see what's going on there.
You know what I think? I just had a look back. It doesn't look like he's had an accident. I have a sneaking suspicion that he's loaded his qualifying setup.
Oh,
no,
I tell you, we have all done that. Or has he pulled the pin?
He might have pulled the pin, actually.
Yeah, he's still waiting there at the end of the pit lane there. I don't know what's going on there.
Did he?
Wow. Christopher Green.
Chris Green has got the move done on.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Nice move.
Yeah, that was on screen, guys, while we were still trying to figure out what was going on with that McLaren. But, yeah, Michael Shea passed now by Christopher Green.
Trey gave him a lot of room there. He knew he didn't have the pace. He knew that if he wanted to finish this race, there's no point trying to fight it. That's a good move from Schreier. I mean, it might pay dividends later on in the race. You never know.
Yeah, well, that's an absolute gift of position, really. Couldn't have been politer. As we go on board now with Dylan Sharman for a lap. So turn it up, guys. We'll let you listen to this roaring McLaren. There we go. That's a lap on board with Dylan Sharman. And we saw how clinical he is. He is just an absolute machine when it comes to line and braking points, mate. That guy is super accurate.
It's pretty amazing too. He doesn't, like, as far as I know, he doesn't actually put that much practice in. He practices until he reaches his peak, which is fairly early on, and then to avoid overdriving the circuit, he just takes a break. He just steps away from it. And I think that pays massive dividends for him because the guy is just flawless. He's going to be one of the first. Like, there's currently, I think, 3 races that are all contesting for the first iRacer road racer to 8,000 behind Gregor Hutu, and currently it's between Sharman and Madison Down and Justin Ruggier. And I know that Dylan is he was really crestfallen because at Watkins Glen when he ran into Steve Vanos in that first lap. If he won that race, he actually probably would have got 8,000 I rating. So I know since then he has been pushing super hard to get it back. So, I mean, nothing's going to get in his way. He's actually pulled more of a gap on Blake Coppo now. It's actually pulled out to almost 3 seconds. So, I did just get word from TTL Spy Guy, though, that Sharman is complaining that he's losing the front end. So, I mean, it's not very obvious to us up here in the commentary box, but he's obviously filling in the car.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how he counteracts that, if that's the case.
Like a lot of DPs that have managed to get past Dylan Carroll now. The DPs start carving their way through the McLarens now. We'll look at Steve Vanos here. He's just managed to get past David Arnold there. He's got Andrew Wren next in his sights.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He'll come across him in almost a perfect position there. Up the inside there, gets the move done very, very cleanly. Good driving from both classes so far.
Yeah, I can tell you, it's really nerve-wracking when you come across the McLarens for the first time, especially guys that you haven't raced before. You don't know whether they're going to, respect that you're moving up the inside, whether they're going to give you room, or, we did the 120 minutes of, Wayne C. Burke. He's had a massive moment, managed to catch it.
Wow, got away with that one.
Yeah, see, these are the things that can end your races, The DPs coming through, they just unsettle you a little bit.
Well, anything that breaks your rhythm is going to be hard to overcome. As he's got Anthony Koenig now looking up the inside.
Andrew Wren. Oh, jeez.
Close for comfort there.
Very close. Andrew Wren's a good driver though. He knows. Like I've seen him get caught up in a few little mishaps from time to time, which totally aren't his fault. He's a very courteous driver, Andrew Wren. Just unfortunately positioned sometimes in situations like that. But Anthony Koenig did a good job. They both did a good job to get through that cleanly.
Heading now there through race, about halfway through now. So this is when the guys really need to start making their moves and showing their cards.
Yep.
So Tony Aldridge putting in a pretty solid performance there in third place so far. He's got that Hyper Simulator TTR McLaren really up to speed now.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting indication. I thought Wayne C. Burke would have caught him by now, but as the DP's caught him, it's really hampered his position to actually catch Tony. I mean, Tony's doing a splendid job out front too. I mean, or in third at least. He's doing a really good job out there to, just putting in consistent laps and, not letting the DPs phase him too much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Last time by, I think Tony Aldridge put in about a lap about a second slower than Blake Coppe. So it just shows you how much the traffic can affect your race pace.
Yeah, that's right.
Steve Anus up the inside there of Tony Aldridge heading into the downhill section to turn one.
And Steve hasn't dropped too far back from Chris. I mean, it could be the traffic playing into again, but he's only 3 seconds behind Chris here. And his car has actually looked pretty solid. So as the race wears on, I wouldn't be surprised if he's running about 10 wing, maybe. And as the race goes on, he'll develop more understeer, but he'll have more grip on the rear. And that's rather important because from past experience, Chris Osborne, when he runs 8 wing, he tends to burn the rears a bit and his pace starts to drop off a little bit. And having 10 wing through that quick left up the hill could be vital towards the end of the race when your tyres are really starting to protest, all the punishment that they're copping.
Yeah, last thing you want to do with these rear tyres on these DPs is superheat them, and if you've got no downforce on that back end of that DP, you're really going to struggle to keep the car nice and straight. Oh, you can see how hard he is pushing that. That's incredible. Using every inch of the racetrack there. Heading out through turn 11, down to the main straight. Completes another lap.
Now, I've just got another rumour from TTL Spy Guy. I don't know if he's starting to feed me a few wild lines here, but Sharman reckons that he might actually be low on fuel. Now, I mean, we're half distance. It'd be a good measure to know whether we actually are or not, but I mean, it's a 45-minute race. These are the kind of races where you don't stuff up fuel strategy. You know the fuel strategy from the start. So I'll be interested to see whether it actually does or whether TTL Spy Guy is just feeding me a wobbly here.
Well, we know that a lot of other teams do watch the broadcast and do get their information coming quite handy, so it could be a bit of a play there from the TTL Spy Guy, I think. We know how methodical that Dylan Sharman actually is with this car, so it's a very rookie mistake if he hasn't put enough fuel in it.
Oh, definitely. From racing with Sharman, he usually at this point he always says he doesn't have enough fuel, and we get to the race and he's probably got about 10 or 15 litres too much, and that's just Dylan for you. I think it's just the typical driver nerves that come out.
Maybe he didn't carry a number when he's doing the fuel calc, so who knows what could have gone on. Well, so Blake Coppo is actually still keeping a pretty good pace with him as well.
Coppo actually was 3 faster than Sharman that lap.
Wow.
Chris Green just going up the inside of Wayne C. Burke here. Yeah, you can see how much these guys get hurt when the DPs come through. Andrew Wren's last lap before this one that he's just about to complete was a 1:24. That's about 2 seconds off the optimal lap that these guys have been doing. This lap was a 1:24.1. Wayne C. Burke a 1:24.6, so it took half a second out of him there.
Yeah, we know exactly how much rhythm means to these drivers. We see it week in, week out, that once the classes start to mix it out, I mean, that's when anything can happen as Andrew Wren gets overtaken there by Michael Shy on the inside there. Yeah,
that's going to hurt his progress. I bet you he's sitting there in his helmet, Andrew Wren, he'd be sitting there saying, I'm coming for you, Wayne C. Burke, I'm coming for you. He just can't type it.
Loves a good competition, Andrew Wren.
He does.
We've got Craig Sparks looking at the back of David Arnold, who is in turn looking at the back of Andrew Wren. So nice little battle, hopefully going to heat up there for the end of the race in these McLarens.
Wow, Chris Osborne and Blake Coppo really close in the second last corner there. That was almost awkward, but not too bad. I don't think it hindered Blake Coppo too much. Be interesting to see where Osborne catches Sharman here, because this could hurt him a little bit. It just hurt Coppo about half a second, so that's be interesting to see if Osborne evens it out when he passes Sharman here.
Well, not only does Blake Coppo have to worry about the time he's lost, he's also got Steve Onos right in his back bumper as well, wanting to make a move, but looks like Steve's caught him in the right spot, and Steve just waits up. Gives in the room, so very courteous driving there from Steve.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good work. He knew he wasn't far enough to take the pass. That was good driving from Steve.
Yeah, can't be setting it up the inside there. No big dive bombs on the McLarens. Always going to end in tragedy. As Christopher Osborne does the same for Dylan Sharman there, so Dylan Sharman doesn't lose any time at all as well.
Nah, it's good driving. I mean, they know that.
Oh, jeez. Dylan Sharman with a very uncharacteristic mistake there. Wow. Oh, yeah, you can see Dylan Sharman there just misjudges how the braking distance on the DPs work and nearly cleans up the back of the overall race leader. Very lucky to get away with that one.
It's a bit of an interesting myth. Like people think that because the DP laps a lot faster than the McLaren, like 5 to 6 seconds faster than the McLaren, that they're just superior in all areas of the track. But when it comes to the braking, I reckon the McLaren can probably actually outbrake the DP. It's more through the corner. The mid corner speed of the DP is tons faster than the McLaren, and that's a massive catch out here. Especially there's a fair few sort of mid-speed corners here, so it's really easy to get caught out as a DP. And as McLaren, you know, it's easy to get caught out in the braking area, especially coming to the corkscrew, as we just saw Dylan Sharman with Chris Osborne there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, places where there is only one line through, like the corkscrew, is not a great place to be overtaken by DP, because you know that you can go in deeper, and if you misjudge it, then we nearly saw the consequences there. That's sort of shaken up Dylan Sharman a little bit, puts a couple of wheels in the dirt there, but get back to Blake Coppo. It's interesting to see if he's made any time up due to that mistake from Dylan.
He did. He made up a second.
Dylan jumps right out of the accelerator there. Lets Koenig go cruising past around the outside. He'll lose a ton of time.
Blake is actually catching Sharman at a rate of knots here. As Sharman's just coming up to the finish line now. Blake took a second out of him that last lap.
Fuel saving, maybe?
Could be fuel saving.
Wow.
He just took another second out of him that lap. I don't know whether it was traffic or fuel saving. That's an interesting one. But Sharman is actually... He's looking a bit under.
As we look up on the screen now, we've got the 5-lap comparison between first and second in the McLarens. It shows a bit of a yo-yo there. Tell you what, Blake Coppo now is absolutely seeing He'll have the bit between his teeth and really want to get that McLaren hooked up and get straight into that slipstream with Dylan Sharman. He is extremely close now.
He has really closed that gap. Coppo is on it. It is on this race.
It looks like we've got the gains and losses up on screen there. A great little feature there introduced by the V8 Online crew. It's fantastic to see movers and shakers in the race so far. Oh, Wayne C. Berg off onto the sand. It's huge off. That's a strange place to come off the circuit as well. I dare say Wayne wasn't exactly happy with the setup there because he was taking, yeah.
So if we have a look at the replay here, he's just come around the corner by the looks of it. He's dropped the rear wheel off. That's what's happened there. You can run it fairly wide there, but as soon as you go past the curb, there's actually a massive drop off and lots of stuttering dirt there, like lots of potholes, I guess you could say. And he's dropped the right rear off there, and that's sent him around.
It's race recall replay up on screen there. New sponsor for V8 Online. It's very good to have those guys on board. Make sure you pick yourself up one of those. Great to show your family and friends what you get up to. About 17 minutes left in the race now. It's really going to start coming down to the closing part of the track, part of the race, sorry. It's now the guys really have to think about making their moves.
Osborne's just continuing his form here. He's just maintaining the gap. I think he realises he doesn't need to push that hard. He seems to be quite happy keeping a 3-second gap back to Steve Vanos here. He's looking very, very smooth and consistent. He's doing in the 118s, which I thought it's actually probably it's a bit slow. It's probably about a second slower than normal, considering they don't have any McLarens around them. But I think he's just taking it easy. He knows that all he's got to do is keep Steve behind him.
Yeah, he'll be. I tell you what, he'll be absolutely over the moon with a win in this championship. That'll rocket him up the board even more.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so heading through the field now. Steve Vanos in second place. Had a pretty eventful race so far. 3 seconds behind Christopher Osborne, putting in a really solid performance. Not doing anything silly this round. He's after a bit of a mistake last round there and being involved in an incident there with one of the McLarens and yourself, John. He'd be quite happy with the way things are going tonight, I reckon.
Oh, definitely. He would be loving this second place at the moment. I think he knows that he probably doesn't have the speed of Osborne, but I mean, second place in this split, that's some good points, and that's going to contribute to his championship.
That's right. We know that Vanos now is overall leading the championship, and we want him to hold that position. But in third place tonight, we've got Anthony Kernish. They're putting in a very, very solid performance as he's heading into the final 2 corners now. 6.7 seconds behind the leader last time round. And he also has kept his nose clean, haven't done anything silly. Keeping the car nice and track, nice and straight.
I know that I think one of Anthony Kernish's aims is he wants to match his road I rating with his oval I rating. So this is only going to contribute to that. He's got to be pretty happy with this effort. Chris Green, on the other hand, what amazing race that he's had. Doesn't qualify, just rocks up, goes in dry, and bang, he's in 4th. He's got to be pretty happy with that effort.
I tell you what, you would be extremely happy with that result. But he's got Michael Schreier not too far behind, about 4 seconds, but definitely with an eye shot of Michael. But Michael letting Christopher Green go past quite easily there at turn 1. We saw about the halfway mark of this race.
Yeah, that was a very courteous move from Michael. I don't know much about Michael, but I've seen his name around the traps. He seems like a fairly clean and courteous racer, and I mean that's all you want when you come to these things. You don't want any muppets that are just going to knock you off the track, especially in these cars where even the slightest touch is going to cause so much damage to your car. Especially in the Riley, it's diabolical when you get one little clip. So yeah, I think Michael's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, exactly. These cars are quite fragile. I mean, they're all carbon fibre, so one small hit can cause a major difference in your aero package and make the car very unbalanced and really just an absolute pain to drive. Wayne Anderson, we haven't actually seen much of Wayne. He's got a really solid performance. I think this is the first time we've seen him at the top split, so congratulations to Wayne. Good to see you up here on the broadcast, and I hope to see you here again.
Wayne's a stalwart of iRacing. He's been around a long time. I know that he's very, very involved with the promotion of the F1s on Friday nights in iRacing in the Oz community. So good on you, Wayne. Like he's very vocal. Well, not very vocal in the community, but he's smart vocal. You know, he's got great ideas for the community. He's a real community player. Props to Wayne.
As I said, it's good to have you aboard, Wayne, and I hope you're enjoying the racing here. Pat O'Hara in 7th place overall and in last place in the Daytona prototypes, but good to have Pat along. He hasn't really done too much wrong, and I'd say enjoying his top split racing tonight.
Well, top split's what everyone is aspiring to achieve, isn't it? I think it's great that he's here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's always good to have your name up in lights. Always good to see yourself driving around in the replays anyway, when you get to watch it on the replays on YouTube later on. Oh, we see Pat O'Hara just pulled it up the inside there.
Oh, Chris Green's had a spin behind Dylan Sharman there. Just in the corkscrew. He just got caught out a little bit.
Oh, well spotted there, John.
We go to the replay, the race recall replay here. You can see that he was just starting to catch Dylan there. He would have got caught right in his draft. He's just gassed it up a little bit. It's really easy to do in these cars, especially on that corner. Driving these cars is so tricky. Like, there's some guys in the field that apparently use rifle braking, and I honestly don't know how they do it, because I drive this thing like a go-kart. I've always got pressure on the brake and the accelerator at all times to prevent that sort of thing from happening. And yeah, Chris has just had a little, I guess you could call it a whoopsie. He's had a little bit of a whoopsie there, and yeah, just spun around behind Sharman, let Michael Schreier back through. So this is actually, there's probably not that much time left in the race. So Chris is really going to be pushing here to get that position from Michael Schreier. There's only 11 minutes to go, so yeah, he's going to be pushing hard there.
I tell you what, I don't think Michael will be as courteous next time by. But as we head now to the McLarens, we've got Dylan Sharman, absolute seasoned veteran, 2.5 second lead over Blake Coppo, and I suppose one has to think now that Dylan is actually just keeping the gap around that 2.5 second mark.
I told you the fuel problems would disappear. I bet you he's going to have about 7 litres left at the end of this race. He's pulled another 3/10 on Blake that lap. He gets himself up into these tizzies where he thinks he doesn't have enough fuel and all this. But I mean, the guy's just a weapon. He's unbeatable. I rarely see him actually beaten on track. I think the only time I've ever seen anyone actually go near beating him was Justin Ruggier at Barber last season. He pushed him the whole race. But I mean, Blake's done an admirable job in second here. Like, I mean, to stay within, you know, a couple of seconds of the Dylan Sharman is a pretty good effort.
That's exactly right. Blake in the bits racing, McLaren put in a really solid performance tonight. He did qualify well off Dylan Sharman's pace, but as we know that Blake's race pace is really up to scratch and can mix it with the best of them. So well done, Blake. Yeah, be some cracking racing to come, I'm sure.
Back to Tony Ortridge in third. He's had a pretty quiet race tonight. I mean, it's unfortunate that the Euros got split from us, because I think it really would have spiced it up. We've only got 17 entrants for this race tonight, which is a real disappointment. But poor old Tony, I think he's just had a bit of a quiet night. He's just going through the motions at the moment. I mean, respectable result, third in the McLarens. There's nothing to be sneezed at. But yeah, I think Tony's a real competitive racer. I think he probably would have wanted a bit more of a challenge tonight.
Yeah, exactly. 45 minutes to drive around the circuit by yourself. It's a bit like testing, and I mean, we all race for the excitement, for the joy of it. So Tony will know we'll want to meet some cars on track next round. But back to Andrew Wren. He's had his ups and downs tonight. He's been stakes and ladders, I'd say you call it.
Yeah, good old Andrew Wren. He's always there. He's always consistent.
He's do enjoy watching you on the broadcast. So Andrew, mate, if you're watching this later on, mate, big shout out to you. And mate, enjoy watching you every week.
Great spark.
Pushing it very hard. Wow, Andrew Wren absolutely ragging it.
Craig Spark, he finds himself in fifth here. He's not doing too bad a job, old Craig. I thought he was going to catch Andrew there for a little bit, but he seems to have dropped off a bit. Yeah, which is a bit disappointing.
He's managed to put the overclockers McLaren there in a pretty solid performance. He's finishing, as we say, in the top split halfway through the pack is nothing to sneeze about. So well done, Craig, and good to see you in those colours, mate.
He's in amongst good people there at OC AU as well. The overclockers guys, they're a smart bunch of dudes. They're good fun too. You know, they don't take the racing too seriously, but they like being competitive, which is a really good sort of attitude to have to this sort of racing.
Yeah, really enjoy the motorsport, those guys, and good to see. I mean, we'll always have battle with the overclockers guys, be it in the V8, be it in the McLaren, be it in anything. You're bound to see those colours out on track. Oh, Wayne C. Burke off in the fence.
Oh, massive incident there. Oh,
wow.
What happened there?
A couple of wheels off on the sand, and it all goes wrong there.
Oh, he's hit that.
He's unsettled it. Yeah, he's unsettled it on that little anti-cut there, and
if we have a look at the race recall replay, he's actually he's cut the inside there. He's hit that red bump. Now that's and he's just overcorrected. He's had a bit of an issue there. That's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Just getting a bit too greedy on the apex there.
I tell you, he's got to hang on to that car now for another 7 minutes.
Nah, he's out. He's bailed.
He's pulled it. He's pulled the pin.
He's pulled the pin. Too much damage. Oh, that's
very unfortunate for Wayne. He's put in a pretty good result after having a couple of minor incidences. That multi-21 McLaren now very, very second hand. So if you need a cheap race car, go hit Wayne C. Burke up. I'm sure he'll be interested in selling his McLaren after this race.
But you know who's cheering? David Arnold and Bruce Joy, who are actually fairly close on track here. They're involved in a bit of a stoush here. This is going to be pretty interesting racing to the end. Both of those guys elevated to position here.
These guys have been pretty much within a couple of seconds of each other all race long, and with about 6 minutes to go now on the clock, they'll be really heating up now. Bruce Joy will have it all over David Arnold by their I think 2 laps. I'm sure of it.
Just got a message from Dylan Carroll. He's actually pulled over and ended his race about 9 laps ago, but he just wanted to say that he's very proud of what he's achieved, and he said his mum's watching. So, you know, hello, Mrs. Carroll. Well done. Give congratulations to your son. He gave it his best. It wasn't fantastic, but you know, that's all we can ask of people here, to give it their best. And well done, Dylan, on rocking up with no qualifying time and giving it your best shot. Good stuff, mate.
Yeah, one proud mum there. Head back now to Christopher Osborne leading overall. Heading down into turn 1 there. About 5 and a bit minutes to go.
So Osborne just still maintaining that 3.6 second gap. I mean, yeah, this has just been a class drive from Osborne. He hasn't pushed too hard. He's sitting comfortably in the 118s here. He knows that he's got this wrapped up. It's a good drive from Osborne. Only something uncharacteristic of this driver would end his chances of actually winning this race.
He's done everything he's needed to win this race, and he'll be really, really wanting to close these ones out.
I tell you who's on a bit of a charge, Anthony Kernish. He is actually pushing pretty hard here at the end of this race. His last lap was a second faster than Steve Vanos in second.
Wow.
But will he have enough time
really
to catch
making
it?
the time.
He's currently 3 seconds behind, a second faster a lap with about, how long to go there, Director? With about 4 minutes 20 to go. So we're looking at a minute.
So that gap sort of stabilised now across the line there. Anthony Kernich probably wouldn't have liked to see that gap sort of stabilise, and he'll just push extra hard this lap by.
Pat O'Hara just making his way past Andrew Wren there into the first turn. Does it nicely. Andrew does the usual thing, gets out of the road. Wow, just looking at Pat O'Hara's car then. The lock on his front wheels was just absolutely monstrous then.
He's not running on a keyboard or an old joystick or something, is he?
I have my suspicions, to be honest, because that was pretty incredible to see just then.
that is some achievement to go 45 minutes without bidding it, racing off the controller. So, Pat, if that's the case, mate, I did have the hat to you, sir. Well done.
Yeah.
But either something's going wrong with the graphics on my screen as well, because he's definitely going full lock to full lock.
Christopher Green, super lucky to get away with an incident just then. He's almost done a Wayne C. Burke. He's clipped the inside of the curb there, and it's unsettled the car. We go to the replay. That is millimeters away from ending up in the wall.
Oh, it's a very unsuspecting corner. Oh, he has done very well to hang on to that one.
Oh, geez. And, I mean, in that car, if you're not running your cars to high, you got a real bad chance of catching an incident like that. He's obviously running a high caster because there's no way he can afford that. That's great driving from Chris.
Yeah, he'll be... I tell you what, he's just hung on to it coming out of the last turn as well. So Christopher Green pushing the boundaries of this DP. Wow. The race recall replay up on screen now, and you'll see how loose he gets there coming out of the last turn. That is wild.
Oh, he's backed that in something chronic. That's
MotoGP style, that was.
That's Gary McCoy back in the old school MotoGP days. That's awesome.
I tell you what though, Michael, Schreier now will have quite a comfortable lead now over Christopher Green, and hopefully we'll get that fourth position sealed and delivered.
Chris is still pushing it off in the dirt at turn 4. He is just having fun out there now. I think he knows it's near the end. He's just calm down there, Chris. You know, you've still got a couple of minutes to go. You've got to bring it home straight.
Don't leave anything on the table. Just push everything you can. So next time by, when Osborne comes through the start-finish line, we'll collect the white flag and have one lap to go. On the back half of the circuit, heading up towards the corkscrew now with Christopher Osborne. Now's the time when you want to stay well away from those curbs and really keep the car nice and straight.
That's true. I was just having a look at Steve Banos and Anthony Kernich again. Kernich took another 7/10 out of him that lap, but I think he's just going to run out of time before he catches him. He's not going to be able to challenge, unfortunately.
Anthony may have left his run too long, or the setup just may have come to him at the wrong stage, I'd say. But he'll be, a little mistake from Steve Banos, and Anthony Kernich may actually catch the draft, and who knows what could happen with one lap to go. Another 7/10 on that lap by as well. So Anthony Kernich with a real turn of speed here at the end.
Yeah, he's closed that gap down to 2 seconds.
And Christopher Osborne now heading up towards about halfway through the last lap now. He gets by Wayne Anderson there. Anderson makes it quite easy for him, steps out of the way. Christopher Osborne though, using all the track still. This is incredible driving there, really pushing the last lap of the race.
Yeah, a lot braver than I would have been.
I would be super conservative.
Oh, definitely. With a lead like that, definitely super conservative.
Heads through the corkscrew, safely negotiated that time by. 2 turns to go, gets well off the accelerator there through the bumpy section.
It's been a great drive from Chris.
As he rounds the last turn, he's got Blake Hoppo loose on the inside, but well done there from Christopher Osborne taking round 6 at Laguna, Seca Raceway in California.
Jeez, and Steve Vanos, he's lucky that there's not a couple more laps because Kernich was all over him. He took another second out of him then. He was only a second behind at the end of that race.
Yeah, wow. Maybe Steve was just coasting. Maybe he didn't have enough fuel there to push it to the end. So Steve there taking comfortable second place in the end there, but Kernich really pushing him there.
And you know who's going to be pretty chuffed? Michael Schreier. He's just coming through the corkscrew now. He's going to pick up 4th place. If he can keep this on the road for the next sort of last quarter of the lap, this is going to probably be his best DP result to date. That's a fantastic drive.
Mate, you could say he's absolutely done everything right tonight. He has not pushed the car too hard, really looked after the tyres, and when people make the mistakes, mate, he was more than happy to pounce on them.
Yeah, that's right.
Well done for Michael Schreier for taking 4th, and we've got Dylan Sharman, the machine, rounding into the last turn now.
Unbeatable. The guy is dead set unbeatable. Unless he gets taken out, I find it hard to see anyone beating him in this. Oh, he's just having fun now. Oh,
Well
I hope he
done.
wins it.
Dylan Sharman takes the GT3 round 6 here at Laguna Seca Raceway, so well done to Dylan Sharman.
Yeah, great drive from Dylan. And Blake Coppo did very well. Pick up second there. He pushed Sharman there that early part of the stint, early part of the race there. I think Sharman was probably actually a little bit scared there. So, no, it's a pretty good effort from Blake. And Tony Autry just brought it in 3rd.
That's right, Andrew Wren then picks up 4th place in the McLaren, so well done for Andrew Wren as well. Pretty solid performance. I tell you what, Dylan Sharman wouldn't have been comfortable seeing McLaren sticking with him in the rear vision mirror, but he still gets the job done.
No, that's right. Great drive from Dylan. As we go to the DP results, so 1st place, Christopher Osborne. 2nd place, Steve Vanos. 3rd, Anthony Kernich. We probably really wish there was a couple more laps to go, but unfortunate there. Michael Schreier probably picks up a personal best there in 4th. Christopher Green, a great drive from 7th with no qualifying time to get 5th. Wayne Anderson picks up 6th, and Pat O'Hara picks up 7th.
I tell you what, it's a good race when all the starters actually finish in the DP. So well done to all the Daytona prototype drivers, guys. Well done, and it was really good to watch. As we move across to the MP412C GT3 race results, we've got Dylan Sharman taking the win from Blake Coppo, Tony Autridge in 3rd place, Andrew Wenn's solid performance in 4th, Craig Spark will be over the moon to get that Overclockers Australia GT3 McLaren up into 5th place, David Arnold in 6th, Bruce Joy in 7th, Wayne C. Burke with an unfortunate accident with 9 laps to go in the McLarens finished in 8th place. Dylan Carroll DNF'd, and Paul Rogers was the first victim of Laguna Seca Raceway.
Yeah, interesting one with Paul there, just pulling into the pits. I wonder if there was an emergency in his house. That's quite an uncharacteristic thing to happen.
Yeah, or a hardware fail, or something's happened to Paul Rogers, but never good to see someone just pull off the side of the track and call it done. So unfortunate there for Paul Rogers. Well, John, that had everything, ups, downs. It had manoeuvres, overtaking. It had incidences galore. It was good fun race to watch.
No, it's fantastic. It's a shame that the Euros didn't get put in, but hopefully iRacing will fix that. But yeah, another great showing. Congrats to Chris Osborne. Great drive from him. And Dylan Sharman, fantastic drive from him too.
Yeah, you're saying about the Euro drivers and the American drivers getting put into their own splits. I know Sandman and Bernard would actually really like to race against the likes of Christopher Osborne and co. So, I mean, those guys will be just as shatters as we will. And unfortunately for those guys, with the two heavyweights, if those the points will probably not be as strong this round as they were last week.
That's very true, Hilly. Sage words, mate, sage words.
Well, that's it, guys. Make sure you tune in on Monday night at 7:30 for the V8's online V8 Monday Night Championship, and this week racing at Phillip Island.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a great little track, that one, Phillip Island.
It's definitely a favourite for a lot of drivers.
Definitely. Hopefully TTL have a great showing out there this Monday. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully get a few cars out there, get the sponsors thrown around. Should be good. And Wednesday night, back to the trucks as well. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday night as well. Thanks very much for joining us tonight, John. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can tell you it's been a lot of fun.
Healy, mate, it's always a great time with you, Healy. What can I say, mate? Fantastic.
Appreciate it, John. Appreciate it. Well, you've been watching V8 Online's live broadcast of the Thursday night Grand Ams, brought to you by Track Racer, Thrustmaster, and V8 Online Superstore, coming to you very, very soon. I'm Matthew Hill, your host. Until next time, I'll catch you later.